Hey there friendos, Newbornkilik here, welcoming you back to Opinions, the video. So, today we're going to be taking a look at the Pokemon Sword and Shield Expansion Pass announcement. Before we get started, shoutouts to Prosafia Gaming for somehow coming up with this. I wasn't even able to find this on the official Nintendo anything, honestly. So, again, on YouTube, thank you so much for providing this with us. I do appreciate it, of course, my guy. So, today we're going to be going over the Pokemon Sword and Shield announcement trailer. Now, I know that there's a lot of controversy surrounding Pokemon Sword and Shield and some of its kind of business practices, I suppose you could say. The one that really bothers me is that it's just not a very polished game, in my opinion, but who knows, maybe with the expansion pass they'll iron some of those out. I doubt it. But you can hope for these things. Anyway, let's hop directly into the trailer. Let me get rid of these YouTube controls for a much smoother experience. So, let's go. First things first, I love him. I love his armpit. I love everything about this. I love the fact that he has a little squirter. I'm guessing due to the nozzle there, the nozzle there, I'm guessing due to the nozzle, that he's going to be able to squirt probably water-type moves out of that, but he can squirt anything out of that. It don't matter to me. Reminds me of Mega Man. I'm calling him Mega Man if I ever catch one, or evolve one. Either way, it's Mega Man. Per the usual, the environments look pretty dang good, I do believe. I wonder if there's any low-texture trees wandering about. So if you're not aware, there are actually, two season pass, or two DLCs, which you could get both with the season pass for a slightly reduced price. It is paid content, if you didn't know for sure. New Pokemon, well, returning Pokemon, but new Pokemon for Sword and Shield. So this will actually open up the competitive scene as well, which is kind of what I'm a little bit more interested in. A bunch of familiar faces, some fan favorites, of course, coming back, as one might expect. I don't really know why. I want to look at this. This pot, for whatever reason, has, I believe that's the max raid clouds around it. So, you know we're in for a good meal when it's about to be a max raid meal, alright? I'm just saying. Joking aside. Of course, everything here looks amazing. The characters look great. I still love his arm cannons. Apparently, there's going to be Gigantamax, Bulbasaur, and Blastoise, which is, of course, always fine. You know, great, wonderful, showing them the same respect they're giving Charizard in Gen 8. And I want to talk about this guy here, actually, for a little bit. So I believe he's the legendary of this region. And one of my... Oh, wow, what a frame to stop on. Can I get a little bit more bits, please, actually? So this little guy here is apparently the legendary of the area. And when I first heard about it, I do believe he's given to you at basically the start of the DLC, which, I don't know. Legendaries, I believe legendaries should be obtained. You know, they should be earned. Which, you know, it seems like they're trying something a little bit different. The story is actually probably going to, you know, evolve this character. So he's going to be kind of like an NPC or a character as well as a Pokemon partner. So I think that could be an interesting way to look at it now that I'm thinking about it, actually. Beautiful regions. I'm guessing those are going to be the gyms in the area. Maybe they're called something other than gyms. They might be dojos. That's kind of what the vibe they're giving me right now, anyway. Two awesome looking evolved forms. And Gigantamax, as one might expect. I believe that's DLC 1. Looks pretty neat. Now, I know that there's a lot of controversy surrounding... Oh, let me get actually some not white screen there. I don't want to bleed anyone's eyes out. I know there's some controversy surrounding, you know, the fact that there's Pokemon that should be in the base game, but I do have opinions on that, but I do want to get to that after we, you know, finish up the trailer here. So if you're interested in my opinions on that, this will be after the main feature, so to speak. I hope they call those hikers. I actually have a story about hikers, but we can get to that another day. The Reggies are back to be competitively unviable once more. Are they? I don't think they ever did terribly well. Vast sprawling landscapes. It looks like there's more wild area in this, potentially. Just kind of, you know, rough ideas. We got some legendaries. I see a Xerneas there, alright. I've been watching a lot of VGC, and Xerneas spells Doom for most of the tier, so we'll see how that goes. And this here, I love this. Okay, so obviously, I love Gen 1. I love the earlier, generations of Pokemon. That's what I grew up with. That's my childhood. Seeing these three, these are clearly the three legendary birds from Gen 1, but different forms. At least it seems that way. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that that's probably Zapdos. The other one's probably Articuno and Moltres. Fan favorites, in my opinion. Zapdos is the best. Don't at me, by the way. Don't. You can at me, actually. I like this idea because it means that these older Pokemon who have basically been power crept out of any kind of competitive meta can kind of come back, with slightly different traits. I do think it's interesting that Moltres is the only one that's not flying, considering he was one of the definitive flying types of Generation 1, but that's that point. I'm guessing he can fly. He's probably still flying electric. But anyway, it's neat if nothing else. I don't know how I feel about that legendary. I think it looks very goofy. But overall, looks like it should be a solid DLC. I'm pretty well looking forward to it. I need to actually complete the last chunk of the game. So, actually, this here looks like we might have doubles gym battles at some point, or maybe this is just showing off the new Pokemon online or something like that. But actually, one of these parts here, it looked like. Hold on, let me come back here. Oh, it's coming. Oh, it's coming. Okay, here we go. So that's Leon. Which makes me think that there are, master trials for the base game as well, because Leon was obviously the champion. He's not the champion anymore, so where did he go after that? I do believe that's one of the other gym leaders as well. It's been a long time since I played, to be completely honest with you, but it looks like maybe they're teaming up and you can do some kind of double gym battles as, end-game content, end-game content, which I think would be really nice. I think that's something that Sword and Shield solely lacked. It's weird that it's behind a paywall. Maybe they'll allow certain parts of this to not be behind the expansion pass. I think would be the best way to kind of counteract, a lot of the negativity that's kind of come out of this. You should be able to access the endgame content, the actual endgame content, without the DLC, but that kind of leads nicely into why I'm not terribly upset that this is a DLC. One, it just makes sense, right? I don't believe that there was a shortage of Pokemon in the base game, in my opinion anyway. Of course, this is, I'm a casual kind of guy, alright? And honestly, I think looking at the competitive scene for Pokemon Sword and Shield has been kind of interesting in the fact that a lot of the super big powerhouses of the last few generations have been notably missing. Notably, legendaries have been missing. So, there's a lot of power creep that was kind of cut out, and, it gives those Pokemon a time to shine, so you can actually see them somewhat competitively. Of course, if you don't care about the competitive scene, then that doesn't really mean much to you, but okay. So let's say that all the Pokemon were in the game to begin with. Oh, by the way, I'm not condoning Pokemon Home. That's not happening. That's not what this is about, okay? This is solely about new Pokemon in the DLC. So imagine you're trying to push a DLC, and even as someone who's excited for the DLC, I'm happy this is coming out. If you told me, okay, there's no new Pokemon, I'd be like, what's the point? Why even bother at that point? It makes sense from a business practice. I get it. Do I necessarily agree with it? Yes and no, and that's only because I personally feel as, me. Personally, me. I believe that the base game was alright enough. Minus the animations. Fix your goddamn animations, Game Freak. Seriously. It's a joke. Of course, these are my opinions. In all seriousness, I'm pretty excited about this, and I do think that it'll be a nice addition to the game. I don't think that it's a terribly grievous offense or anything like that. Pokemon Home is a little bit awkward in my opinion, but as long as the base game is good, I believe it's great to add content on top of that. And this DLC looks to be pretty good. Hopefully it's, worth the price tag. Other than that, there's really no way to tell until we get our hands on it. Anyway, if you did enjoy the video, please do consider doing the things down below. Leave me a like, spread some positivity in the comments. The way the world's going right now, we could all use a little bit more positivity. Please do consider checking out some of the other videos on the channel. I do a lot of Mario and a lot of old school Zelda, and some new Zelda from time to time. Anyway, with that said, I am Newbornkilik, and I will see you in the next one. I'm out.